Alright, so look, the Red Dead duology is one of the most important series of all time, which is why they're some of my favorite games of all time. But today, I want to talk about the game that started it all.
No.
That being said, I'm trying to do 3 things in this video. 1, tell you why I genuinely love Red Dead 1. 2, tell you why I think it's worth your time. And 3, to get my dad to play this game because I've been asking for like 5 years, man. Jesus Christ, bro. You know what? Matter of fact, Dad. But that being said, come gather around the campfire and let me implore you on why you should go back in time to the first Red Dead Redemption.
There he is! There's my favorite white boy!
Man, John Marston, dude, where do I even start? I'm pretty confident in saying that John Marston is the first video game protagonist that I absolutely fell in love with. Before playing this game, I had zero knowledge or interest in any kind of westerns. And I mean, why would I? I was like 13 when this game came out. And at 13, you're barely a person. You feel me? Like, you can't really appreciate that kind of story. And I mean, at least I didn't. You feel me? I was too busy traumatizing myself with my unrestricted access to the internet. And no, it didn't affect me at all. But no, this game instantly makes you interested in John as a character with the way that they pull you in. So like, with that being said, the game starts out with John getting led into a train by a group of dudes who look like the embodiment of Project 2025. Basically the kind of dudes who like thought child labor laws were just a bit too extreme and women's rights were just a suggestion. You feel me? So like, but for the next 5 minutes, John doesn't say a word, right? Instead, the game lets the world do the talking. It like drops us into conversations that set the tone for the kind of place that John Marston is stepping into. It's like, it's a perfect way to preface his introduction.
Well, I, for one, am grateful, Mrs. Bush, that they are finally bringing civilization to this savage land.
I could not agree with you more, my dear.
But, Father, do you mean unless an innocent receives communion, they're destined to go to hell?
What I mean to say, Jenny, is that there is a great deal of difference between an innocent and a savage.
Mr. Johns wants to run for governor, which is why he's so concerned with cleaning up the state.
Sometimes I find it impossible to make the distinction between a loving act and a hateful one. I mean, they often seem to be the same thing.
So I don't want to give you too much of a backstory on John, but like, I will say this. The world that he finds himself in at the beginning of this game, it goes against everything he ever stood for. So John's on a mission to save his family, and every single story thread is dedicated to just that. And we'll talk about the story in a second, but obviously John Marston is a gunslinger, right? He's a cowboy, he's like a killer. He's not a good person, but like ironically, his focus on saving his family is what lets us see him for who he is. You know, both for who he is and who he wants to be. And the thing that truly captured me was like the way that he speaks, the way he's written to speak. Like for a dude who ran with the gang, John has this poetic way of talking, and he almost speaks in riddles sometimes. Very much not the norm for like a cowboy, you know, especially of that time. I feel like it amplifies the themes of like duality and his personal struggle. And that's not even touching on the story, that's just who John is as a person right now. I mean, he speaks so well, he gets shot for it.
I implore you. You implore me?
John plays his cards pretty close to his chest, especially when talking to Buddy McFarlane about his past. See, this game doesn't just dump exposition onto us. It lets us discover his past as he meets new people, you know, like revealing it in pieces, just like John would in real life. But what story is John telling, I hear you say, Father? That's a great question, Father. I'll tell you.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So Red Dead takes place during a time when the Wild West is dying out. You know, civilization is like almost in full swing with only a couple places left to conquer, which means John is like the last of a dying breed. And like I said, he's trying to save his family, and the adventures he goes on are like filled with heartbreak and hope and anger, confusion, and tragedy, kind of like my love life, you feel me? I don't want to say too much about the story, but I will say this. After watching a good amount of westerns post playing Red Dead 1 and 2, Red Dead 1 not only uses western tropes, it almost weaponizes them, which only speaks to how like masterful the story really is. Like if you're familiar with the inner workings of westerns, you'll probably see the setup of certain tropes, but then the writers will pull the rug out from under you, and you'll be left looking like a sex doll, you feel me? That's crazy word. But again, this game is set in like the last stages of the Wild West, and the world has changed, and John simply can't adjust, and you'll see that as you play this game. See, John is at a point in his life where he's past the gang life. He just wants to settle down, but he's thrust back into action per the government's super duper friendly request. You know, it's totally not a metaphor for how the government is just a gang and they're trying to clean up the competition.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But nah, man, if you need any more convincing to play this game, and you've already played RDR 2, like I said, this game deepens the story of that game. So why not continue the saga? And again, I'll assume that you've played RDR 2. I know you haven't, Dad. But if you thought that game had the feel of a Western, RDR 1, in my humble opinion, is even more of a Western with how it portrays itself. While RDR 2 has Western themes, RDR 1 romanticizes the old West in a way that feels reminiscent of like old spaghetti Western films. And I know, Dad, you're probably thinking, how does it do that, son? Well, I'll tell you, Father. Atmosphere! You ever been sucked
What? Bro, what are you talking?
into a game's atmosphere and found yourself absolutely enamored by it? No? Well, Red Dead's a real toe curler. How you liking these jokes? They suck? Alright, never mind. Anyway, I think this game builds an atmosphere before you even get in the game. And I'm gonna hit you with some that no one's ever said about this game. So with that being said, leave a like. I'll never be asking for likes, but leave a like because I'm about to hit you with some crazy shit. The thing that builds the atmosphere off rip for me is that loading screen. Look at this shit, bro.
This right here is my favorite thing.
But hey, maybe that's too niche for you, you feel me? One thing I'm sure we'll be able to agree on is once you play, the music is peak. And like I said, Red Dead 1 is much more of a spaghetti Western, so you'll get tracks like this.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Or tracks like this. God, I'm about to get copyrighted to oblivion, holy shit. But I want to give a shout out to one track in particular, that being Born Unto Trouble. Well, I'm about to say some real emo Linkin Park type shit right now, but this track is like, it's lonesome, it's introspective, it's almost melancholic. But despite it all, it still has this theme of like strength. And I feel like that perfectly embodies the story, John as a character, just everything about this game. It can be found in this one track, you know? It makes you feel like a cowboy, plain and simple. And I'm sorry, man, but RDR 2, as much as I love that game, it's like my favorite of the two, really, just like mechanically speaking. But RDR 2 does not come close to replicating how this song makes me feel. And don't hate me for saying that, but I don't know. Paradoxically, another thing that makes this game's atmosphere so incredible is the silence. Now for me, being 13 years old and used to games like Grand Theft Auto 4 or Saints Row 2, what have you, the traversal between 2 points were always filled with like music or the hum of an engine, you know, of a car or whatever. But what always stood out to me about Red Dead 1 was just the silence. There's something about going from mission to mission and just hearing your horse's feet stomp while you think about whatever story beat just unfolded in front of you. Like that shit really makes you stop and think, and I feel like it almost puts you in John's shoes. He has all these emotions regarding where's his family, do I fit in the world anymore, who am I, can I be 2 people at once, you know? And as the player, you know, as John, you can't distract yourself. All you have is the open road. With that being said, if you're a big fan of atmosphere, there's a DLC that you need to play after the main story. In fact, it's so good, it got sold as its own game, and that game is Undead Nightmare. Yo, really quick, I'm trying to get the 250 subscribers as well as grow my Discord, so feel free to join with the link below. Also, go drink some water and sit up straight, you cretin. Anyway, back to the video. So I know we're kind of going off of the deep end here, and this isn't about the main game at all. I will tell you that straight up, but I have to say this. Undead Nightmare is one of the best DLCs ever made. This DLC is something you need to play. And then, and only then, can you understand why so many people are upset with Rockstar for not making an Undead Nightmare 2. Like, genuinely, I think these motherfuckers just hate money. Like, you're running away from free money. You motherfuckers are hustling backwards, and I don't understand it. What the f? But no, man, listen. See, the concept of zombies in Old West, it shouldn't work. Especially, like, this well on paper. But it absolutely does. And even with this game, even though it's shorter, I don't want to speak too much on the story because you need to experience this for yourself. But this DLC takes what you knew about Westerns and throws it out the window for zombie tropes. And even then, it adds a Western flair on top of it, and it subverts all your expectations, I feel like. You see, the beginning of the game, John's looking for a cure for his family, and he sets out in town for answers. And the unique approach they take with this game is that John is just as confused. he doesn't know what the hell's going on. I mean, look at this scene in the beginning of the game.
Now, I don't know what the hell's gotten into you sick, crazy bastards or what Uncle's done to you, but I'm going to get help. Stay calm. As calm as you can, seeing as both of you seem to have gotten a little excited. Probably just a fever. Jack, be kind to your mother. Abigail, teach the boy right from wrong. Both of you, stop biting chunks out of people. Be back as soon as I can.
Stop biting chunks out of people. They're zombies. What are you doing? But no, what makes this game so interesting to me is that you come across like mythical creatures, bro. I don't know how else to say you on this game, man, but like, that was so cool to 13-year-old me, you feel me? But no, this DLC turns Red Dead 1 into like a survival horror game almost. You feel me? Like, ammo is scarce, you gotta clear out towns so to become a safe haven for you. And the zombies aren't just reskins of base game enemies. They're like, you can easily get swarmed if you don't position yourself right. But no, I know we're both pretty scary about horror media in general, but this is a really fun game. It's short, it's not that scary at all, and you might like it. So, give it a try.
My Shayla.
But ultimately, I hope I've convinced you to at least play the base game. And for the people who have played RDR 2, like I said, if you want to see where that game's story picks up, play RDR 1. Now, I will say this, Red Dead 1 came out over 10 years ago. But despite that, what it lacks in graphics and the mechanics of RDR 2, it makes up for in heart. The story, the music, John as a protagonist, and all the other side characters I haven't even touched on make this game such a memorable experience. And honestly, I feel like this is a must play for every gamer, casual or otherwise. With all that being said, I'd love to hear about why you guys like the game if you played it. Just remember, no spoilers, because I'm gonna have you do me a favor really quick. Down below, comment, "Hey dad, play this game." But yeah, my name is Never Not June. I hope you guys liked the video. Do me a favor, check out my other ones if you'd like. Yeah man, peace.